I'm driving, clear across I-40. I'm somewhere between Albuquerque and Flagstaff. The yellow and white lines are rolling straight out behind me to a vanishing point, and I'm flanked by a sparse and an eldritch prairie which commune with the sky, really only because the planet pulls it away from me. A mountain jumps high out of the flatlands with so much exuberance it might fall into orbit. It sits there totally mocking my elementary school understanding of tectonic plates. I'm sitting at a damp and a weathered picnic table. It's totally uninviting save the backdrop. A sunset the size of a city lays out above the lake, resting its head on the starboard mountains and laying its quilt of pinks and blues on the mountains of port. The mountains, the prairies, the lakes, even the highways, they affect me. They're pulling me inside myself and hardening my independence. They're sharpening me. But there's no way to impress myself on these great expanses. I can bear the bitter cold and the freezing fingers, crack my skin in desert heat and grind my hands down against cold granite, but I cannot exhale my individual onto them. My voice falls deaf against the howling winds in the miles of space. My aspirations and dreams may be remembered for a season, but the pines have seen hundreds of winters, and their parents remember a time before axes and wool and European melancholy. My love here is not one of softness and vulnerability, but of reverence and respect. The personal falls to a whisper, and the individual is impressed upon. Anything created here is to capture a piece of what exists, not to build a world. The winters in New York are cold, and the snowbanks of gravel and beer cans and whatever collect below subway tracks take up their long tenancy. Dim neon shines through salt-stained windows and broadcasts sanctuary. So I shed my armor at the door and find my seat at the bar, a slab of walnut that's been polished smooth by oily hands. There's a Japanese line cook for the bar. He's trying to explain Tokyo drinking culture to some regulars. He's telling his friends that the culture is to refuse the drink, and still the pourer fills your glass, but he's saying that in Japan no means yes, while his friends cringe and give him a polite laugh. The bartender finishes a conversation with her friends at the end of the bar and peers over the taps to ask if it'll be food or just drinks for me tonight. There's no air of service industry platitudes, and she ducks back behind the bar to pour me a Guinness. On the far wall behind me, the silhouette of a man with long hair stands behind a turntable and flips through a milk crate. It's filled with funk and neo-soul vinyl, and it urges me to keep my Shazam tab open. And to my left, a girl is telling her friend about a guy she's seeing. She likes him, but his texts are dull and they're dry. And as I order my second Guinness, a man replaces the group of regulars and laments to his friend behind the bar about the drudgeries of finding romance with a stranger. Despite my interest, I try to tune them out. Eavesdropping is a sin, banality, and boredom. I'm hunched over the walnut bar. I'm scribbling into my notebook. There's nothing notable that will come out of the night. Some lines about missing the window for a left affair, reflecting on a somewhat exceptional dinner cooking experience earlier in the week. The alpine lakes and the ocean clifflines dare me to bear witness to the grandness of the material and to note my insignificance there. But the vulnerability of a friend confessing their fears, the spectacle of an emotional song long rehearsed, the crescendo of falling in love, they urge me to believe that the expanses of our mind may rival those of the endless deciduous forests and barren deserts of our world. Behind the greasy taps of light draft beer, set and setting, take a back seat. When the world before you is 12-year-old wallpaper and bowls of Planters peanuts, the words to a song you thought you'd heard ad nauseum, the bartender's blue eyes, people put plainly, become the thing that impress upon you. My voice is louder here. The shadowy figure in the back of the room spins up an ethereal guitar solo, and the line cook shares a shot with new friends. Here, the sheetrock walls and vintage movie posters are just a blank canvas to paint the human experience onto, and I'm a color on the painter's palette. I'm meant to be added in long sweeping brushes to the scene and mixed with my neighbor into new hues. The world has already painted its masterpieces, and my part is to see them and let them change me. But ours, mine, are in front of me. Mine are informed by those monuments of nature, yes, but they are uniquely mine. They only matter because people, a friend, a stranger, a critic, are there to hear them. I add color to the canvas, and by bringing myself to the world in the chicken scarpetta that I cook for my friends, in short conversations at neighborhood grocery stores and coffee shops, on the words I decide to write on the page, I choose to spread my brush, rather than to leave the paint on the palette to dry and crack.